Imagine that you just woke up and you're going about your usual morning routine. So you're having your breakfast, you're getting dressed, and just as you're about to leave the house, you grab your backpack and then you pack it with a ton of really heavy bricks. Strange, right? And think about having to do that every morning, having to haul this big heavy bag of bricks around with you all day every day, and you couldn't take it off. I mean, I guarantee you, if you didn't have back pain at the start, you would definitely start to feel it after doing this all day. I mean, it wouldn't be comfortable to do anything. You couldn't run, you couldn't play sports with your friends. Even sitting on a chair and getting comfy would be really difficult with this huge weight on your back. You'd just be constantly reminded that it's there every day. This backpack represents unforgiveness and the grudges that we sometimes hold on to. I mean, I'm sure we've all experienced the difficulty of having to forgive someone that has really hurt us. Just like humping this big heavy bag full of bricks would be uncomfortable and painful, so is holding a grudge. A wise man once said that resentment and withholding forgiveness is like drinking poison and hoping that the other person will die. The good news is that unlike this backpack that we could never take off, we can consciously choose forgiveness and choose to set ourselves and others free from carrying this heavy burden. Don't get me wrong, forgiveness is hard, especially when we feel like we have been deeply hurt. And we see this in the Gospel of Matthew when St. Peter's asking Jesus, how many times should we forgive someone when they keep offending us? I mean, is there a limit to our forgiveness? Peter gets a shock when Jesus says we should forgive not once, not twice, not even 7 times, but 70 times 7 times. I mean, what Jesus is really saying here is that there should be no limit to our forgiveness, because that is how Christ forgives. You know, he even forgave his murderers when he was suffering immensely on the cross, when he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And so if there's no limit to Christ's forgiveness, then as his followers, we have to love and forgive that way too. Like I said, it is sometimes difficult to forgive, and it's almost easier to lash out when someone causes us an inconvenience or is really rude or unkind to us. And especially when it's closer to home, sometimes we can often find ourselves being less patient with our family members, our brothers, our sisters, parents, even roommates, than we would be with a complete stranger or someone that we don't know that well. And I think sometimes we can think that forgiveness means that we are condoning someone's bad behaviour. We might fall into the trap of thinking, if I forgive this person, then I'm basically becoming a doormat and letting them do it again. But this is not the case at all. Forgiving even the most difficult offences just means choosing virtue, and it means following Jesus and remembering that nothing is unforgivable. I mean, Christ proved that on the cross. Unfortunately, you and I live in a time where forgiveness is not the norm. You know, cancel culture permeates social media. You know, when a celebrity does something that we deem unforgivable, then the internet is quick to cancel them out. So why should we forgive like Christ does? The truth is, we are all imperfect people, and you and I, we will mess up too. So we should forgive like Christ does, because he is always there ready to forgive even our biggest offences. And like I said, it's not easy. We must rise above our feelings and see Christ in that other person, not just the offence that they've caused. Because forgiveness is a choice, and it's a choice that lifts that weight of resentment and anger from us. When we withhold forgiveness, we block that peace that God so badly wants to give us, and it's like we're carrying around this dead weight. So now let's get down to the nitty-gritty. I want to give you guys some practical tips on how we can choose forgiveness and love over resentment and hate. I think sometimes the first step is to ask for the desire to want to forgive the person that's maybe offended us, because that's half the battle. And sometimes just praying for the desire to want to forgive this person and pray that God blesses this person is the first step to softening our own hearts. If we're really struggling to let go of that anger, then it helps to acknowledge our own imperfections and the ways that we fall short, and then compare that to the way that God endlessly forgives us and his goodness when we are so unworthy and undeserving. And if he can do that for us, then don't we want to be like that for others too? And lastly, I think one of the hardest people to sometimes forgive is ourselves. Sometimes we can let our pride get in the way and think that we are not truly forgiven, or that we're not worthy of God's forgiveness. But remember that every time that you go to confession and you speak to that priest, Christ is waiting there with open arms, ready to forgive you and to speak through the priest to the depths of your souls and tell you that you are loved and forgiven, because nothing is unforgivable in the eyes of God when you come with a contrite and repentful heart. So this week, let's lay down our heavy backpacks, and if while I've been speaking someone has came to your mind that you maybe need to forgive or ask forgiveness from, then why not offer some prayers for them this week? And if you can, then go, if it's possible, to reconcile with them. And of course, take advantage of the beautiful sacrament of reconciliation and experience the freedom from our burdens. I'll be praying for you all. God bless.